Before we jump into today's incredible episode, you've heard us talk about our online fitness coaching before. There's a reason we have over 3,500 transformations and we guarantee our transformation. So when you sign up with us, if you put in the effort, we guarantee you're going to get towards your goal. And if you want to learn more about what that is about, no pressure, check out the first link down below. It's our website. It's going to explain how we approach training, nutrition, accountability, goal setting, and how you can work one-on-one with us to see better results. So go ahead, click that link, check it out, and we look forward to helping you. Now into the episode. What up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm on the microphone.
And we got a killer episode. Our episode today is you've reached your fitness goal, now what? Chances are, if you've listened to this before, you probably heard me say this too, but America doesn't necessarily have a weight loss problem. It has a weight regain problem. We've all been there. I guarantee you every single person listening to this at one point in their life has lost weight, whether it's 1 pound, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds. Where most people go wrong is they lose it and they gain it right back. And it's not a rewarding process. And I find a big barrier for people is the concept of fitness goals, because all too often we think, I got this vacation in 2 weeks. I want to lose 5 pounds. I'm going to look killer. You get to the vacation, you pig out, and you're like, I've done it. And then you end up in a worse spot, and you're like 5 pounds heavier than you were. So that's what really inspired this episode. Even as we've had different people coming in the program, people we know, family members, seeing them succeed. And we really thought, like, what would they need? Like, how can we encourage people who are in it? They're seeing some results, they're at a better place, but how can we help them continue on? And we've been lifting, we realized, for over 13 years. I feel like I've been stuck at that 10-year mark. I said I've been lifting for 10 years, probably for the last few years, but I kind of calculated out. It's 13, just about 14 years, which is pretty crazy. And I still love going to the gym. I still love fitness. Of course, I do this for a living, but I know I have a lot of value and tips to add here. So before I get into it, one other thing that really inspired this episode, if you know the fighter Conor McGregor, he was a double champ at one point. Now he's a little bit more of a I don't even know how to describe him. He's a little bit interesting, right? Yeah, he's definitely like coked out, doing crazy things, fighting people, screaming on Twitter, whatever it may be. But I was watching an old video of him, an old motivational video of when he was starting, and he was like essentially like making no money, basically living on the streets, saying how he was going to do it. He was going to be one of the best. He was going to be the first Irish champ. He was going to break out of poverty, and he did it. He worked, he grinded, he made a name for himself. He created a business. I think he's a billionaire, close to it. He created all these businesses. Like, it was pretty crazy to see. But it's interesting, and there's a saying and a quote that I wanted to share, and this is from Marvin Hangler, and his quote was, "It's tough to get out of bed to do road work at 5 a.m. when you've been sleeping in silk pajamas." And what this means is you can kind of get golden handcuffs from your results. It's like, I've done it. You don't have that hunger. You don't have that urgency. And the way this relates to fitness is we'll set this goal, put in so much work, and we'll be like, I want to step away from it. I don't want to track. I don't want to work out. I don't want to do anything. I want to eat everything under the sun and enjoy my new physique on vacation. Like I said, you end up at that point where you're 5 pounds heavier and it ends up undoing everything. And it's just not a good mindset to have. And you need to find a way to really keep loving that journey. So you've hit your fitness goal. Now what? We're going to give you a few tips, and it's so easy to soften up once you've gotten there. But I really wanted to stress, and one note I had here was, it's not about the destination. There is never a point where you've officially made it. You're not going to wake up and say, I've done it. I've made it. There's always something more you're going to want. I have been so leaner than I ever have in my life. And I thought, oh, I look a little small. Maybe when I'm a little bigger. Or I thought, oh, when I'm a little leaner, I've been really muscular. I'm like, I got to be a little bit bigger. Case in point, you're always going to want more. We're always our own worst enemies in that sense. So you really do need to learn that journey, because like I said, there being no destination, it's a little philosophical, but the journey is all you have. You have to appreciate it and really learn to love that more than these arbitrary goals. I do like goal setting myself, and I love setting goals. I love achieving them. I like clapping myself, patting myself on the shoulder, and getting back to the drawing board and setting a bigger goal. And that is what it's all about. And we're going to give you some tips to do just that within this episode here, which is absolutely amazing. And the first thing I want to talk about is using tune-ups and mini challenges. So one part of our coaching framework, we ask our clients to set a mini goal for themselves each week. And the reason we like that is you can reflect on your journey, maybe where you're not doing the best and what you can improve. And another opportunity we have in our community group, because I believe you need to be doing this at the micro and the macro level. So at the macro level, we'll all do a weekly challenge in our coaching group. So those are optional, but we do love and find that people partake in them, see more results. But weekly challenges are a good way to really narrow your focus into something. So maybe I'm getting really lazy with my steps. I'm not moving enough. This is an opportunity where I can say, hey, this week I'm doing 10,000 steps every single day, no matter what. Doesn't matter if the world's falling down, I'm going to find a way to get some steps in, even if it means I walk on the spot. So really using these opportunities to say, where am I not doing as well? If your nutrition's getting really bad, start tracking, be hyper accurate, invest in a food scale, say I'm going to have 100% accuracy. If your training's suffering, say I will get 5 workouts in no matter what. Some extra things you can do, even for me, I find analyzing my caffeine intake, really kind of tapering my pre-workout every here and there. So this week I had a challenge to use no pre, minus 1 day pretty much. I knew I'd use it for leg day. It's a fun little boost for me. So that was something I was comfortable with doing, but I'm still analyzing that feeling. And I haven't had pre Monday, Tuesday, my leg day's Wednesday, and I've really kind of reaped extra benefit by taking that back. And you can also start to see, like, do I have a problem with things? Have I been having copious amounts of dessert every night? You could say I'm going to do no sweets for a week. Like, tune-ups, mini challenges are really important. And when you've hit that goal, like really analyzing, maybe I've improved a lot of things, but some things have taken a back seat. How can I analyze it? How can I be on top of that? I know Kyle will have some things to add here, so I'll pass it over to him.
Yeah, and what's great, and even just with our client check-ins, like every single week we set a small weekly goal, and we always try to find these different things that we need to essentially improve on. And I think there's nothing better than being aware. And I think even to this day, after 13 years of lifting, there's always something I feel like I'm just missing that I need to essentially change. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that. Like, never beat yourself up if you're like, man, my sleep habit, my sleep routine's been bad. I haven't been training as hard as I could have. Like, use that as a reason to keep going and to, keep pushing forward, because honestly, like, it is absolutely incredible what you can do even when you set something for a week. But my biggest thing here is don't just do something for a week. Figure out after that week how you can essentially incorporate that new routine, that new structure, that new change, and continuously work within that to make some great progress moving forward. But the other thing I will say before we jump into more stuff is, like, I'm definitely a driven person, but I necessarily, like, I would say, always like the most excited and hungry to do stuff in terms of fitness. And the reason I actually wanted to talk about this was because some people don't realize how important goal setting is. And even for this year, like, when I sat down and thought of my goals, like a 315 pound bench press, a 500 pound squat, I've done marathon, I've done ultra marathon relay, we've done 4 powerlifting competitions, we've done a physique show, we've done a lot of great stuff. And that, to me, if I were to just give you one piece of advice, is just to set these big goals and to constantly work towards something that really pushes you and really inspires you, because that's what really truthfully has kept me going for so many years and kept me so excited when I go into the gym and when I'm not even in the gym. So that's what I wanted to share with you as one of my biggest pieces of advice, but I'm going to let Josh continue with some more tips as well.
Yeah, one thing I'll say, actually, and then I know Kyle is a great one to say to you all, which will be absolutely amazing, is no one cares what you did yesterday. I've always hated people that are like, oh, 20 years ago I did this. I'm like, okay, what can you do today? And it's a tough mindset to have, and I'm not taking away from anyone's accolades of the past, but I do believe, like, we're here to keep growing, we're here to keep pushing, and I want to challenge myself to do that. And that's something that I find is really motivating to me, is saying I've done these great things, but I want to continue being a great individual. And by having that mindset of, like, you haven't made it, you need to keep improving, you need to keep pushing forward, and you can gamify it too. You don't have to be miserable to the grind. You don't have to push yourself to where it's absolutely unrealistic, but you can enjoy this process of improvement. I can tell you it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding. You'll be healthier. You'll save yourself a lot of pain because of it. And I think Kyle's next tip is going to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, and just really continue with what's working. And I love talking to everyone who's just seen results, or even some people who haven't been seeing results. And a lot of times it just comes down to one of the biggest principles here with it. If you are seeing change, if you are seeing results, I know is one of my most recent quotes on the Monday episode, is just to keep going, to keep doing what's working, and to not exactly need to switch it up just for the sake of it. And I find it very, very common that this does happen. And, even here, like I have write-ups here saying so often people will go off and feel the need to switch things up just for the sake of it. And I know it's very hard these days. I know if you go on Instagram, you will see something carnivore based, but then on the other side, you'll see vegan, and then just a million different types of things going on. Even workout routines. I even struggle sometimes when I go on social media because I just see so much nonsense and so much craziness and even a lot of excitement, right? Because, the way that these people market these things, it can sound fun, right? It can sound cool, but if you're seeing results, if you're making that progress, like just keep going with it, find different ways. And I think one of the greatest things you can do is incorporate some of these tips, like these mini challenges, these mini extra bonuses, these, 1 week tune-ups, like these other things that you want to try, but still keep that framework. If you say, I want to do some sort of running based goal, still keep what you've been doing, the nutrition, the strength training, the stuff that you've been doing that's been working, but then add in something else without getting rid of the stuff that's gotten you to where you're at. So that's a big one that I'm passionate about, and hopefully that makes sense for you.
Yeah, and even adding on to Kyle's point there, raise your baseline of what's normal. Accept that growth, don't fight it. All too often we'll be at this new level and you'll be comfortable being in the gym 5 times a week, you'll be comfortable eating healthy food, and you'll be like, okay, but now I'm on vacation, so I need to do no workouts, I need to eat out every single meal, I need to just be absolutely so excessive. But why would you fight that? Like, accept that you've really elevated where you've been in the past and understand that you've set a new standard for yourself. And it can be, okay, now I do 5 workouts. How can I do 5 workouts better? I'm eating healthier. How can I continue to eat healthier? How can I do this more sustainably? How can I do this more enjoyably? And like, grow on that, and don't fight that growth that you've experienced. I know all too often it's just, you want to see it as like it being a phase and just go back and de-evolve to where you were before. But you've progressed. If you've done that work, celebrate that and build on it. It doesn't need to be something you completely neglect, set aside, throw away. And a big tip to doing this is having accountability. The rule of 5 is something we really like. If you see someone and their 5 friends, you'll have an understanding likely of their fitness level, their finance, their attitudes, all these different things. Because if the 5 people you're around are just absolute animals, they're always in the gym, they're training harder, they're doing crazy things, you're going to be like, okay, this is normal. That will be your understanding of normal. If all of your friends are 400 pounds and think the gym is stupid, you're going to come to accept that a little bit. So it's important you really balance yourself out. And of course, you can have all types of friends. I would never be like, I can't be friends with you because you're not fit. But I should like to think that by me living well, I'm going to help them, I'm going to encourage them, and I'm going to do it in a way where I don't need to berate them with like crazy, you need to be fit, you need to be fit. But showing that example that it isn't hard, that you can still have fun, that you can have a good life is so important. So, and if you don't have that accountability, there are a lot of incredible ways to go about getting it. You can actually sign up with us. We will give you that accountability. We will do all the hard work for you, give you basically black and white. Here's the blueprint. Here's the map to follow to get your dream body, guaranteed. And if you want to learn more about that, first link, we got that link there right for you. You can have accountability partner in terms of a gym, a friend. You can find people in communities. There's a lot of incredible things you can do to really ensure this. And I find this is a great way to keep yourself pushing forward, because if you're like me and you see other people growing, you see them evolving, you see them push forward, you're like, I want to do that too. How can I do that as well? Like, it makes you want to get off your seat. So I really like to find that, and perhaps no one is like that in your life. I know a lot of people, when I've said this before, I've said, I have no one like that. Go on YouTube and just search some of the incredible people that are out there. Find someone that inspires you. Maybe there's a mom of 8 and you're a mom of 4 and she's crazy fit. She gets after it. She's an incredible mom and she fires you up. Watch her, get inspired by her, take some of that energy, use her as someone to motivate you in your situation. And that's what I love about the internet, is you can find someone who has it 3 times worse than you, who does it 3 times better. So I find it really can be inspiring and amazing in that regard. But once again, if you prefer that one-on-one, there are many ways to go about doing that. And accountability is a great hack to really just make that happen.
Yeah, and before I jump into another tip here, like one example I'll give you, and I see this very often, like I like that Josh mentioned at the start, we will see a lot of people get great progress, especially those that we talk to in the DMs and our messages and whatnot. Like, a lot of people have seen great results, but it's just the fact is most people don't keep it due to a number of reasons that we're talking about here. But one thing I will say, and I've seen it happen numerous times over, is let's say you lose tons of weight, you've been tracking very consistently for a year or two, and you're like, okay, I'm happy, I'm good to go. Let me take my foot off the gas and just chill. What's going to happen? I'd say for most people, like 95+% of people, they'll lose that consistency, they'll lose the momentum, they'll lose the accountability, and they end up gaining a lot of weight because that was the thing that got them there. If you're used to strength training 5 times a week, that got you incredible results, you built up great muscle. After a while, you get a little bit bored and you want to try something new, and you go down to 1 to 2 times or whatever it is. Of course, yeah, you're going to lose some muscle, you're going to fall off, and you're not going to feel your best. Even for cardio, sometimes people do some amazing cardio sessions, they'll do all this great stuff, and then after a while, hey, they cut it off a bit and they start to, get a little bit complacent. And I say that with love because I see it happen often where so many times people become complacent. And I know this because I've been there where I've taken my foot off the gas. I've started to chill. I've started to say, none of this stuff matters. I'd rather just take it easy. And that's where you lose the results. And like Josh said, it doesn't have to be boring, but you also have to be able to accept the boring work and to know that not everything is going to be crazy exciting. And sometimes when I go in and if I weigh something or if I, do a workout that I'm not looking forward to, I know that it's good for me. And that's something that I think a lot of people need to start to understand, where here, one of my tips is be okay with the boring work, but learn how to switch it up. The boring, consistent work is what gets true results, but being able to switch it up with different types of training, cardio, etc. is what can also keep you going long term. So that's one of my biggest tips for sure.
Yeah, and if I'm going to end it with one thing, it's don't underestimate the power of momentum. By building great habits, being consistent with them, it's like a snowball. It just gets bigger and easier and easier and easier. If you were to just start as someone untrained, not healthy, and you just jump into the life me and Kyle live, it'd be unrealistic. But it's easy for us because we built that framework, we built on it. Continue to listen to these episodes, reach out to us. We're available on Instagram. We're a message away. We're here to be that source for you as well. And if you want to learn more about coaching, first link, but really take this episode to heart because you're capable of so much, and it's really easy to entertain that lower level mind, but always think of that higher level mind. What would tomorrow you want you to do today? And continue to think of that, continue pushing forward, celebrate your hard work. If you've proven yourself you can do it, you can definitely keep doing it and become better with it. It's a lifelong fitness journey. It's not a week, it's not a month, it's not a year, it's a lifelong journey. And being fit, healthy, and happy is something that will continually take work and effort, but it'll be something you can really incorporate and do quite seamlessly in your life just the same. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.